Today's story is about a fired employee, an employee handbook, and a court decision that changed workplace law across America. The year was 1980. The case was Toussaint versus Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan. For many workers, the fear of losing a job is always in the back of their minds. But what happens when a company promises job security and then suddenly fires someone anyway? That question was at the center of this case. Theodore Toussaint was hired by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan. During the hiring process, he was told things that suggested employees would not be fired without good reason. The company also had policies that seemed to support that idea. Like many employees, Toussaint believed that if he worked hard and followed the rules, he would keep his job unless there was a valid reason to let him go. But years later, Blue Cross fired him. Welcome to Once Upon a Case, because the law isn't just for lawyers, it's for everyone. The company argued that Michigan followed the rule of at-will employment. Under that rule, an employer can generally fire an employee at any time, for almost any reason, as long as that reason is not illegal. Toussaint disagreed. He argued that the company's promises and policies created an understanding that employees would only be fired for good cause. In other words, the company should not be allowed to promise job security and then ignore those promises when it became convenient. The case eventually reached the Michigan Supreme Court. The court sided with Toussaint. The judges ruled that an employer's statements, policies, and employee handbooks can create enforceable rights. If a company tells workers they will only be fired for good cause, a court may require the company to honor that promise. The decision did not eliminate at-will employment, but it made clear that employers cannot always hide behind the at-will rule if they made promises that employees reasonably relied upon. The case became one of the most important employment law decisions in American history. It reminded employers that their words matter and that employee handbooks can have legal consequences. The lesson? Sometimes a promise made in the workplace can be just as important as a promise written in a contract. And that was Toussaint versus Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan, 1980. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, watch this case next.